Oh yeah.
Hello and welcome back to Strongwoman High's Life is a Mishmash. Today we have very special guest Sammy Boothby joining the pod. Hello, Sammy.
Hello. I'm
How are you
glad you
doing?
managed to say my surname correctly, as you can imagine. Been called all sorts.
Dear, I think that's a pretty
Yeah.
easy surname to
My
get, to
uh
be fair.
my last boss introduced me to a whole group of new colleagues as Sammy Boobies. So
Sammy Boobies, that, to be
I,
fair, is great, to be honest. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I would
That
have
was
probably taken that
in a
name around
prison
with
too.
it.
So yeah, owned it.
Oh, no. Worst start to a job then. Yeah,
Yeah.
funny name, but not in a prison environment at
No,
all.
absolutely not. Although not the worst thing I was called.
No, to be fair, probably not in a prison. Yeah, fair enough. So, do you want to give us a little bit of background information about yourself then, when you started, what you're all about,
Oh,
that sort of jazz?
so I am, technically still in my rookie year, strong woman.
Nice.
I did my first strong woman comp in August last year, having only started
Wow.
strength training in the April. um, Decided to
Amazing.
do some strength training. I'm an equestrian by not by trade, but my whole life since I was about 3. Wanted to progress with that and decided I needed to probably do something to keep myself a bit fitter.
Yeah.
Started going to like group. One of our gyms by us has got like a group kind of strength training session, which they do like a 6-week block. It changes
Yeah.
every 6 weeks. Was great. Was at 5:30 in the morning, could fit it in before life, job, child,
Yeah.
horse. Really enjoyed it, and then kind of thought I've always sort of fancied having a go at strong woman, like just probably at the back of my mind thinking, and then Mammoth Strength Club ran Devon's Strongest last year, so I decided why not. I entered it, couldn't train any of the stuff, had none of the kit, turned up in August having never touched an axle, never done a Conan's, never done a Hercules hold, never
Wow.
picked up a stone. Just thought, why not?
Yeah.
Went, really enjoyed it, didn't come last.
Amazing.
Um, Absolutely loved it. Like really, really loved it. The buzz and yeah, like just the support I think is one of the biggest things that I love.
Yeah.
Um, so did that. Continued to train. I then sort of thought about doing a bit of powerlifting. So I've had PT with a powerlifting coach, which has actually been really good. I think he's enjoyed programming strongman as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moved to a commercial gym, which again, something I would never have done a year ago. I would not have had the confidence to have walked into this gym. It's a predominantly bodybuilding gym, so
Yeah.
lots of boys, a handful of women. I wouldn't have done it. Just wouldn't. I've driven past it. I've lived in this area for 5 years, driven past it for 4, thinking, God, it
Yeah.
looks really scary in there. um, then thought, just fitted my training needs a bit better. I could fit it in whenever I needed to. And yeah, and then did Cardiff Strongest in October. Um, Again, didn't enter the novice. I entered the class above because
Nice.
I thought, why not? Um, yeah, there was a bit, it wasn't a great comp for me. The didn't get the log up, which was very frustrating. But then I had only actually got the log up at that weight once
Yeah.
pre-comp, so it was a big ask. But yeah, again, a really great comp, really well run, really supportive. And yeah, and then I was like, that'll be it. I'm not going to do any more. Just going to keep strength training. And then
Yeah.
I had provisionally entered a comp in, I should have done it at the end of last month, but managed to pull my back deadlifting, so had to withdraw from that.
Oh.
But
Oh
I've got
no.
2 more comps. So I've got end of July and then 16th of August I'm going back to do Devons.
Oh, amazing.
Um, mm, they've got 2 weight categories now, and I have to do the bigger weight category, and it is very much going to be, if I get a point for any of the events, I'll be chuffed.
Doesn't matter, doesn't
Definitely
matter.
at the absolute limit of my current abilities, but got to give it a go, haven't you? So
That's the thing, yeah. You've got to push yourself in this sport. It's one of them. You've stepped out your comfort zone so many times already, and each time it seems to have paid off for you. So if it's
yeah,
working, why change it?
yeah, definitely. And I also think like I have to continually remind myself that I haven't been doing this for very long, and I've also been doing it while dropping weight.
Right.
So I've dropped nearly over 50 pounds. So
Wow.
4 stone since last April. That wasn't the main reason I started strength. Obviously, it's been a nice side effect, but the fact that people keep telling me that I'm doing okay, given the fact that I've dropped all this weight and my strength has increased.
Yeah.
Apparently, that doesn't normally isn't normally a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and also I think coming into any sort of strength sport, I think I've never so within the equestrian world, weight is a very contentious issue. It's very much, for obvious reasons, animal welfare and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not a topic that anyone talks about. Whereas I've come to strength sport and everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm in the 82 kilo category and I'm this amount of weight, or I'm in the 64 kilo category and I'm this amount of weight. And that's actually been really refreshing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also made me realize that actually dieting for a weight specific sport is a completely different ball game to
Yeah.
just losing weight. So much more nuanced than that. Um, yeah, it's been a fun year.
Absolutely, yeah. Off to an absolutely
Is it?
flying start here. Yeah, you sound very busy, very busy. What was the initial starting point then for you, where you were like, right, I'm gonna go and start strength training. Then this is the plan. I know you said you joined that class at 5:30 in the morning, but what was the like initial thought that made you think I need to get into strength training?
I don't like running,
Fair
basically.
enough.
Like I I I did quite a lot of sport at school, like the usual hockey rounders, and obviously I've ridden since I was a toddler.
Yeah,
Um, and the goal with the horse was always to progress up the levels within dressage, because I'm not brave enough to jump big fences. Um, we like to keep all 4 feet on the floor.
I'm not even
Um,
brave enough to ride a horse, mate. You're
no,
one step ahead of
so
me.
so for dressage, once you get past a certain level, you have to do your entire test and sitting trot,
Right.
um, which obviously takes a lot of core strength, quite more fitness than people think. People think the horse does all the work, but very much can vouch that that is not the case.
Yeah.
Um, and so for me, it was just about being a better rider, and obviously strength training gives you that kind of builds your core, builds muscle, all that kind of stuff. The fact that then this class was at 5:30 in the morning and it was the only time I could fit it in around a full-time job, a
Yeah.
horse, and I've got a 7-year-old. It was, it was kind of, I sort of just went to see. And then I was going to these classes and I was noticing that, each week the weight I was picking up was heavier, my deadlift got heavier, and everyone was like, oh, wow, that's really good. I'm very much still very clueless. I think I've got a lot of people telling me that I could be quite good, which sounds a bit big-headed, but I don't think I know how. You do know what I mean? Because it's so new.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what to compare myself to. Like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I don't know. My deadlift in April, my first 1 rep max was 65 kilos.
Nice.
My current 1 rep max is 145.
Wow.
I pulled 150 off 18-inch blocks yesterday, but
Amazing.
I don't. Do you know what I mean? It's really difficult because I've never done it before. So I've got
Yeah.
people whose opinions I value telling me, but it's about trying to develop that self belief, isn't it? And actually, I think a lot of the reason I started was to try and just I don't know, a lot of people who are parents will probably relate to this, but you know, that whole kind of trend that went round about finding your pink, about how flamingos lose their colour after they have babies, and then it's about
Yeah,
finding. And I think I'd lost me. Um, and I think it was just about doing something for me.
yeah, I love
And now
that.
it's become um,
Your
annoyingly
personality.
part of my personality, like my whole personality, which I find annoying. So I imagine my friends and family also find equally as irritating.
I bet they don't. I bet they don't. I think it's super important though, having that thing for yourself, and
Yeah,
even if that's what gets you into strength training, and it's beneficial for everybody around you as well, not just
yeah,
yourself. Like you're a better person strength training, and you're doing it for like long term goals and stuff like that as
yeah.
well. So it does pay off, doesn't it? And it pays off to everyone around you too. So I don't think they'll find you annoying.
I also say as well, as a woman, I think being strong is like having a superpower.
Yeah,
Because as
absolutely.
women, we are notoriously underestimated anyway,
Hmm.
whether that's at work or at home or, you know, whatever, you know, parking your car, you know, all these sort of stereotypes that we have for women. And then as a strength athlete, people look at me and go, oh, you know, she's, you know, middle-aged mum. She
Yeah,
can't. And then I go to the gym and they're like, oh, okay.
yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
It's like you've
um,
almost got a secret side of you, isn't it?
yeah, and it's great. I love it. It gives you sort of a more of an internal confidence, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and it's definitely had an impact not just on me physically. I think within my work, within just life in general, like I'm so much better able to manage like things that used to make me really anxious or sort of like lower days. It's had like such a positive impact on more areas than you'd think it would. I think.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. I've spoken about this a few times because I found that when I started training and started getting stronger, stuff that used to like bother me at work, like I work in a male dominated industry anyway, and pest control and stuff, and like you always sort of get looked down on or talked down to and stuff. And back
Yeah.
then, like I'd cry about stuff like that, and now I just think, fuck off. Probably deadlift more than
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like, just don't
Could probably
bother
pick
me.
you up, but it's fine.
Yeah, just like washes off your back, doesn't it? And it's funny how
Yeah.
like doing one thing, say just going to the gym and thinking, I just want to get a bit stronger, I just want to train for this, I just want to lose a bit of weight, but then
Yeah.
all the other benefits that come with it is it's just amazing how much it changes your entire life.
Yeah, definitely. It's had such an impact,
I
such a
love that.
massive impact.
Amazing. Right, well, let's get on to the actual questions of the podcast then, because I love going off track, as you can tell. So, since starting the sport, then, what has been your strong woman high?
I think my strong woman high has been finding a community.
Nice.
Ooh. So I've been really lucky to train with Sam Taylor and Sue Franklin Taylor at Peak
Yeah.
Strength in Wales. Amazing. Literally the whole community. Oh God.
Ah, if I could give you a hug through the
So
screen, I would.
ridiculous. No,
No, it's all
honestly, it's
right.
so I was there yesterday. I do a 4 hour round trip to go and train.
Wow.
I try and go, well, I've been twice. My plan is to try and go once a month.
Yeah.
And they're just so amazing, so welcoming, so supportive. Always at the end of a phone, you know. God.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the whole community, like everybody is, you know, the guys, you know, my fondest memory from last year was trying to pick natural stones up at Devon's and having the open like blokes stood like next to the, you know, right next to the barrel, screaming at me, going, come
Yeah.
on, you know, you can do it, you can get it to your knees, like you're so close, like. And I've never been involved in a sport like that. um
Yeah.
you know, the equestrian sport is notoriously tricky to be part
Mm.
of, and I'm very lucky. I have some amazing horsey friends and supporters, but I've never known support like this from people that I've literally known for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I've met
Yeah.
once at a comp, or I've messaged, or I've liked something on Instagram, or do you know what I mean? Like they're just everybody just wants everyone else to do well, like to do their best, and I think
Yeah.
that's definitely the high for me, is kind of finding that tribe.
Yeah.
And as an adult, it's really hard. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not one of these people that's got uni friends, because I didn't go to uni conventionally. I was working full time when I did my degree. You know, like I got married very young, so again, I haven't got that group of friends that you make through college or school. Um, I don't have any mum friends really, because I work full time. I don't do the whole school gate thing. You know, my
Yeah.
poor son is in breakfast and after school club every day, because, you know, I work 8 till 4. Um, so yeah, finding people, making friends as a grown up is really hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've known these guys for, you know, I've probably inflicted myself on them. It was a case of please can I come and train? Um, and you know, they've all been amazing. Like, you know, there's like a little group that always go on a Saturday, and so I try and go on a Saturday. Um, you know, Abby, Luke, and Kirsty are amazing, and obviously Sue and Sam, and it's thanks to them that my next goal hasn't been laughed about. You know, my next goal
Yeah.
for next year, I've had nothing but encouragement and
Yeah.
support to do. So yeah, I think that's definitely been the biggest bonus of this sport. You know, the weights you lift mean nothing if you haven't got people cheering for you, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that's like, it's a huge part of Strongman. And I know it gets brought up on this podcast all the time. It gets brought up, one, how hard it is to make friends as an adult, because
Yeah,
it's just, unless you're going out and doing stuff, it's just difficult. And
yeah,
the benefit of strength, like especially Strongman, is that regardless of like where you go or who you go meet, everyone majority of the time is so welcoming and they want you to be involved in the sport. Because like, I know personally for me, being in this sport, I love it when new people come in. I love people asking me questions. I love people wanting to get into the sport, because it'll, like, it sounds a bit selfish, but it benefits me. The more
yeah,
people that are in this sport, the bigger this sport gets, the better the sport is going to be for everybody.
yeah,
So, like, if you've been in this sport, you want more people and you want people to enjoy it and get a buzz out of it like you do. And it's sort of like that selfish, like, I love this so much. It's done so much for my life. It can change other people's lives. So,
yeah,
like, let's get people in. Let's be supportive. Let's bring more people into this sport. And
yeah.
I love that. I love that that's your experience with it as well.
And I also think like it's very much a sport where like age is just a number, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I started at the gym last year, I managed to kind of gently encourage or bully my mum into joining.
Yeah.
And she was never sporty. Very didn't you know? I vaguely remember her doing some aerobics, you know, when I was a kid in the 90s. But
Yeah.
neither of my parents are sporty or have ever, you know, competed at anything. And she still goes to the gym that I started at 4 times a week,
Oh,
5:30 in the morning,
amazing.
without fail. You know, she's there. She's made friends. She's got a support system now that she didn't have before. And I've also managed to get her to enter her first little powerlifting competition in September.
Oh,
So, and
amazing.
she's 67. So,
Wow.
you know, there is no, you know, and when she started last year, she couldn't even pick a barbell up, you know,
Yeah,
and now she's, you know, I think she's doing, you know, trap like deadlifts and back squats and, you know, bench, and she's absolutely loving it. And it was,
that's
you know,
amazing.
so again, strength sport, you shouldn't not do it based on how old you are. I think you can
Absolutely.
start it as long as you're sensible about it,
Yeah.
you know, and have the right support. I think age is but a number, and as women, it's so important to strength train.
Yeah,
So important.
absolutely. We speak about this loads. I think we spoke about it on Desi's podcast, that the benefits for women
Yeah,
especially when you're starting to get a bit older as well, like it's insane
yeah,
how much difference that it can make, just a little bit of strength training can do. And
yeah,
your mum will surely be feeling those benefits now
yeah.
and noticing differences.
I think the thing for my mum is that it's more sort of like the kind of activity, like her ADLs, like her activities of day living. It's like being able to crouch down and get something out of a cupboard, or being able
Yeah,
to carry the shopping in, or feeling confident to walk up a set of stairs. I think it's more that's had more of an impact, I think, than the fact that she can deadlift
yeah,
70 kilos. Do you know what I mean? I think it's more of that, she's reduced her falls risk, she's
yep,
reduced the risk of fractures should she fall, all that kind of stuff. I think that for her has been more of a thing, like her balance has improved. Like you can see it when she's walking, like all those kinds of things. She's more confident.
yeah.
So I think that's had more of a benefit for her than the actual like weights that she's lifting.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that. We should start like a strong woman mums club, shouldn't we?
Yeah,
I've been desperate to
definitely.
try and get my mum into the gym and she will not listen to me. All she does is she's like, "Can you just do me a little program and I'll do it at home with some little pink dumbbells?" I'm like, "No. Come on,
Yeah,
we
you
need to
have to
get you
tell
into
her.
the gym."
We'll get her and we'll get my mum and your mum together, and my mum
Yeah,
can encourage her.
absolutely. I'm gonna make her listen to this podcast so she
Yeah,
can hear it. I'll be like, "Make sure
honestly,
you listen to this one."
she's doing so well, and it's like that's probably one of my biggest achievements as well this year, is actually encouraging mum to do it. And it's her
100%.
time, it's something for her. It's not looking after my stepdad, or my me or my sister or
Yeah,
grandkids. Like that's an hour for her where she gets to go and see people and chat, and that
yeah.
social interaction is just as important, I think, as well, than just the strength training.
100%, yeah. Well, it's good for your mental health as well, isn't it? Like it's mental and physical that you're catching in all those areas.
Yeah.
So super important. No, I love that. It's absolutely class. Right. Let's move on and ruin this very good mood then. What's been your strong woman low?
This actually was probably the hardest question, like out of all of it, because obviously I
Yeah,
haven't, touch wood, not had any significant injuries. Slight
yeah.
back pull, but that's just inevitable, isn't it?
Part of it,
So
innit?
yeah. Um, I don't know. I think. Oh, I don't know. Very new to the sport, so it's like, how many people do I upset?
We don't
um,
care about that here, mate. Upset who
I
you want.
think
I'm not
for
bothered.
me, I think that over the last couple of weeks, I think it's been the amount of dirty laundry that's been aired on social media. There you go, I said it. Said
No, I'm with you on
it.
that. I'm with you on that, and I think we can talk about it in a respectable way,
Yeah,
where like it's not going to be, we're not shitting on people, we're not like
I
blaming
don't know.
people.
I don't know most of the people. I don't know
Yeah,
them, but as a newbie, it kind of leaves a bit of a bad taste. In
yeah,
ultimately it's a business, and any other business that was behaving like that, probably you just wouldn't see it. I
yeah,
just think there's
yeah,
a time to, like, I'm all for calling out, bad people or bad experiences or something like that, but
yeah,
I think there's a time and a place, and I don't know, for me as a new person within the sport, it would make me question whether I was going to enter certain competitions or whether I
yeah,
wanted to be involved with certain things. It's definitely given me food for thought on
yeah,
some things, and I just think it's a shame. I think, you know like, we've just had a conversation about how encouraging everyone is,
yeah,
um and then I mean, every sport you have people that don't like each other or don't get on, or and there's conflict. I mean, oof, you should see
yeah,
a lorry park at a horsey event. It's
yeah.
even the top level riders, there's conflict. And it
Always drama,
happens
yeah.
because we're all human. But I just think if we're trying to encourage new people into the sport, it's probably not a good look.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think with it, the problem is there's a lot of personality clashes, and I think a lot of people, one, don't like being called out, and then don't like putting themselves up and going, "Yep, I fucked up. It's my fault.
Yeah.
I take the blame. I'm going to go away and work on that and come back to it." They'd rather blame other people or try and make excuses and stuff like that. And I just think
Mm.
sometimes you've just got to sort of face the music and go, "Yep, I fucked up.
and
That's
and
fine."
we're all human. Like, we all make mistakes. Like,
100%.
I think it's just it's just owning it, isn't it? You
Yeah, and I
know,
think the problem is a lot of the time it's personal opinions that get people caught up, and like sometimes I think especially with business, it needs to be business. It doesn't need
yeah,
to be personal opinions. It doesn't need to be how you feel or how someone's made you feel. It needs to just go back to being a bit more professional sometimes. I think that's what's lacking in strongman is that
yeah.
professional edge, because it is such a small sport still.
Yeah, and I think maybe I look at it from like I'm a registered healthcare professional. I have a registration. I have to be
Yeah,
really careful about what I do, what I say on social media, what I post, what I like, what I share, all of that
yeah,
as part of keeping my registration.
yeah, yeah,
Every
yeah,
year I have to say, when I reaccredit, I have to tick boxes to say that I've not done X, Y, and Z.
yeah,
Um, so I think maybe that in some respects is a benefit because it makes you kind of think, oh, maybe I won't post that. And I
yeah,
always think you don't post in anger either. It's a bit
yeah,
like sending an email.
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, yeah,
write it, delete it, come
yeah,
back to it in 20 minutes, then rewrite it.
yeah.
Is usually what I do. Like, write
100%.
what
That's
you
what I
want to
do as
say,
well.
delete it, and then come back to it. I just think sometimes you've just got to take 5 minutes and think through your
Yeah,
action a little bit. And, you know, but yeah,
definitely.
I can't say I've had any like massive, but like you say, I think strongman is changing, and I think it's really positive that it's changing and that it is becoming more professional. And at some point, it'll be great to see more people being able to make a living from the sport.
Yeah,
But again, coming from the horsey side of things, there's not many people that make a living out of horses. Um,
yeah,
there's that old saying, isn't there? If you how to be a millionaire when you own horses is to start as a billionaire, because
yeah, yeah,
honestly.
absolutely.
And I think strongman's probably pretty similar. Like the prize money's not there yet, and the support, but
Yeah,
equally, like everybody's actions have consequences to that, I think.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
sometimes in the heat of it, you just post or you just think about you,
yeah,
and actually there's a much bigger picture. So hopefully it will settle
absolutely.
down.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I understand it. It's that when it's personal to you, you're obviously going to get upset. You obviously want to make statements and say things, and I think sometimes it's worth just taking a little step back and going, "Hang on a minute." And as well, I think what happens is it's like a soap opera, isn't it? Like I remember you go on Instagram and you like there's
Yeah.
stories lit up at the top, and I'm like, nice one. There's my
Yeah.
evening sorted.
You
Like
need
I'll just
the
be reading
telly.
this. Yeah, like I'll just be reading this for the
Just
rest of
get
the
the
evening.
popcorn.
Nice one, let's go. And I think like, and I don't like that I do that. I
No.
don't like that I do that, but it's created for me because it's like a drama. It's like
Yeah.
watching some limited series on Netflix. You're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I've got so much gossip here, and like yeah, by creating that and by putting that out there, it's just not. It's not good vibes in the sport. Yeah, it's entertaining, but not in a good way. It's not entertaining, and like we should be promoting this sort of stuff. It's
No.
entertaining as in it's all our little gossip mongery heads being like, oh, who's got drama
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, definitely. And I just think, if we're trying to encourage people, it's probably put a number of people off.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I
And
think
I'm probably now blacklisted. So
join my club, mate. I'm blacklisted from most places now, pal. I've been riding this high for ages. Not allowed
right.
to go anywhere.
It'll be a small club.
It's fine. We don't. It doesn't matter. It's one of them, isn't it? But I do. I think, and I think as well. To be honest, I think the people in these situations would agree. I think that most of the people don't want this stuff out there. They don't want this to happen. They don't want these things to go this way. But I think the way that people deal with it is super important, and I don't think it's
Yeah.
getting thought about enough because there's too much emotion behind it a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, no, I'm glad you said it anyway. It needed talking about, so. And if anyone's curious about what the drama is, we're not going to tell you because we want it
No.
to go away. We're sick of it. Put it in a box,
Yeah.
shut it over there. We'll just carry on with our nice strong woman lives.
Or the positive of the fact that we've had Strongman live on Channel 5 this weekend,
Ooh, yes, very
which is
good,
very
yes.
positive.
Yep.
You've not had to pay a subscription to watch it. You could watch it on the telly. which is great.
Absolutely,
A great
absolutely. We
way to
love that.
encourage people to, watch people lift stupid weights
100%. Only problem
and pull
being that there
funny
was no
faces.
no women there, but I won't bitch
Baby
about that too
steps,
much.
baby steps.
I'm already blacklisted from that company anyway. Ah, well. Right, well, let's move on then. So, what would you say to yourself when you first started the sport then? I know wasn't long ago.
Like 5 minutes ago. Um, uh, oh, probably patient, be patient, and
Love that.
also remember how far you've come.
Yeah.
I think um, I think I always forget that. And I think I posted a reel on Instagram the other day, and I think it was because I hit a log press PB the other day, and
Nice.
I posted a reel with my first ever attempt at getting a log over my head.
Amazing.
In I don't know, I think it was November last year, and it was awful. And I had a friend message me, and she was like, "I had to do a double take. I didn't even realise that was you in the first video, Sammy." So I think it's important to document your journey. I think that's one of my biggest regrets is the fact that I've got hardly any videos of any of my lifts at the beginning,
Yeah.
mainly because I absolutely hated what I saw and the whole women hated what I looked like, hated
Yeah.
myself. Um, but actually, I kind of regret that because I think you then forget where you were, and
Yeah.
I think with strength training, you move the goalposts. So
Yeah.
for me, 6 months ago, if I'd got a 30 kilo log over my head, I'd been absolutely buzzing. you know.
Yeah.
But now that's like I warm up on that. So
Yeah.
I think you forget the progress, and that as much as
Absolutely.
everyone's like, oh, you don't want to look back, but actually sometimes it's really helpful to look back.
Yeah.
I've got one deadlift video from my first 1 rep max attempt, and I will look back at it and I'm like, oh my goodness. I've
Yeah.
still got running trainers on. The form was
Yeah.
terrible. I hitch it over my knees, and now I'm like, that's a repable weight for me now. Like,
Yeah.
that's programmed into my program for me to do 5 or 6 reps at that weight. So I think sometimes you forget. And also I think because the strength increase is so it's small, like sometimes it can be like like 1.5 kilos. Do you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
percentage jumps are quite small, especially for like overhead stuff. I find that you forget that actually, you've come a long way. Like
Yeah.
it's been a big jump. So
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely like having patience, not compare yourself to other people,
Yeah.
and listen to the
100%.
people that know what they're talking about. I
Yeah, I
think.
love that. I love that. I'm the same. Because I had a few videos and stuff from when I first started, but I was so like embarrassed and nervous to film myself in the gym when I first
Yeah,
started because I feel like I didn't know what I was doing, and then I was like, why would I film when I
yeah.
don't
Why
know?
do we need evidence of how awful I am at this?
Yeah, but now I'm like, oh my god, I wish I had. I wish
Yeah,
I'd filmed those first few sessions where I had no
yeah,
idea what I was doing because the progress is insane. And again, the patience thing as well. Totally agree with. Like, I remember
yeah,
my overhead. I hit 90 kilos overhead in 2022, and it took me like nearly 2 years, 3 years to get another 10 kilos on
yeah,
that. Like, when you think you're
yeah,
watching people who are just flying along getting like 20 kilo PBs, 30 kilo PBs here, it just takes time, takes
yeah,
ages. Like, no one ever starts like amazing. They've got to start somewhere.
yeah. And also, I think I've got to learn to take a compliment. I'm not very good at that at
Yeah.
all, and I know that's probably quite a British thing, but
Yeah.
you know, I've got all these people telling me like you're doing really well, like keep going, and I'm like, feels weird, like feels
Yeah.
really weird. Um, but yeah, just patience, I think. And when
Absolutely.
you're seeing people posting, insane deadlifts or insane stuff over their heads, like you've got to remember that they've probably been training for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I
That's the
mean?
thing. Yeah, it's progression and it's time. You can't compare yourself to someone
No.
who's been lifting for 5 more years than you because they've got 5 years on you.
Yeah. And
And in no
actually,
other sport would you expect to be at the same
no.
level as that.
No, exactly. Like, in the horsey world, you wouldn't expect to be, going around badminton horse trials in the first year of riding. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wouldn't. It can take, most people, it takes their whole life to get to that level.
Yeah, 100%. No, and I think it's super hard, especially in this sport as well, because I think we haven't got like really, really famous people in this sport. Like everyone is quite accessible. Like
Yeah.
Donna Moore's like so down to earth, so normal. Jenny Todd, so down to earth, so normal that when
Yeah.
you meet them, you're like, oh, like I should be that good. Like they're just normal
Yeah.
people. I'm a normal person, and you think, nah, they've got like such huge backgrounds behind them. You can't compare yourself to that.
No, definitely not. And I think that's one of the good things about the sport is the fact that, you could technically, compete in the same class as somebody that's been doing it for 10, 15 years, that is the best
Yeah,
that we've got. You know, definitely bring up the
100%.
rear of that class, but
Doesn't matter though, because
yeah,
the experience you get from competing with those type of people is so valuable.
I think that's it as well. And it's like, like when I did Cardiff's, I found it was the first time I met Sam and Sue, and because they were reffing it, and like I'd never done a farmer's carry, and the tips I got from them, about where I should put my hands and like to brace and pick it up, and and the encouragement that I got, and and there was a deadlift ladder. I'd never the last one was on a really was I don't even know the name of the bar. That's how green I am. Really long and whippy,
Kratos
basically.
bar.
Yeah, yeah, that one. And
Yeah.
I never pulled a deadlift on that. But again, they were so supportive. Like, yes, they're reffing, and they're meant to be, but they were like, pull it slowly. Don't drop it. All that kind of stuff. But and the encouragement from the other athletes and people that have been doing it a lot longer, oh, you could try using this chalk, or you could use this, or and I just think you don't really get that in a lot of other sports.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I totally agree.
or you don't really ever see, if someone finishes a run, a farmer's carry before the other person, and they're stood at the end screaming for that other person to get it across the line, you don't see that in a lot of
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
definitely what
I
makes it
totally
unique,
agree.
I think.
100%. Yeah. It's just so supportive, and it's a very supportive sport.
Yeah.
Love that. Right. Well, do we have anything final that you would like to say about Strong Woman before we move on to our final section of the podcast then?
Just, I think everyone just needs to have a go. It's so
Absolutely. I
much
love
fun.
that. Yeah.
Apart from the
Just get
whole
into it.
the game that I play of is it a bruise or dirt?
Yeah.
Basically, post any training session. Oh, what's this one? Is that bruise or dirt? It could
Yeah.
be either.
I always
Yeah,
find the worst one is whenever you're doing any sandbags, and specifically usually sandbag to shoulder for me, is my neck gets
yeah,
so dirty. Like it's gross. Like it's just
yeah,
disgustingly gross. And I'm like, what is this?
yeah,
Like where is all this coming from?
yeah,
Why is it only stuck to my neck? It's just minging.
yeah, yeah. The or the stone kisses.
Oh
Those
yeah,
things.
no. I haven't
Always
done
tricky
stones
to
in so
explain at
long.
work.
Yeah, very. I'm honestly covered in bruises at the moment because I've only just started training properly again because I love
Yeah.
just having a bit of time off. But yeah, I'm absolutely covered at the moment. I just think, what must people think?
Post Devons last year, I had you had to pick up, I think it was 75 kilo natural stone to a barrel, and it
Yeah.
I dropped it and it slid down my forearm. So
Ooh.
I had to go into work and explain why, like, from my elbow to my wrist was just bruise and graze.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's scarred. So now when I do sandbags, I have to wrap
lovely.
my arms because it's so painful. Otherwise,
Oh
like it's
God.
so sensitive, that bit of skin. But
Yeah.
I think it's part and parcel, isn't it? It's one of the kind of fun parts of strongman, the
Absolutely, yeah.
bruises.
What I find with stones, especially like if I train stones a lot, my forearms just almost get used to the horrible feeling,
Yeah,
and they're like, and I don't really bruise or graze as much. But when I first start training them again, like I haven't trained stones in ages because they never come up in comps for me at the moment. But when I start training them again, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrific. My
yeah,
skin's like,
it's
no,
awful.
what is
No,
this?
absolutely not.
I absolutely hate it. But right, let's move on then to the final part of the podcast, our silly goose.
Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where our lips get loose and our minds run free. Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where we chat a load of shit that's of absolutely no use. It's silly goose time.
So, first of all, do you have anything silly that you would like to bring to the table?
No, I couldn't think of anything.
No problem. That's fine. I have
I
a
know
few.
you have a list.
I always have a list just in case. It's a list on my phone that just whenever I see something stupid, I'm like, that's a good question. I'll just ask that. Right. So my question, I've got a few, so we'll just see how much we talk about them and see how many we can
Okay.
get through. But
God.
so you already have a child, so this is
Yeah.
a chance for you now to think, what would be the worst name that you could possibly give a child?
There's a few that you're not allowed to name them.
What do you mean
So
allowed?
there's I'm pretty sure there's a list of certain names that parents are not allowed to register their children as.
What?
Things
Who
like
enforces this? The
Hitler and
government?
the registrar. So
Oh.
when you register a birth, you have to go and register the official name. And I'm
Oh.
pretty sure there's like a no name list.
I would love to look at that. I
Yeah.
understand the Hitler side of it. There's obviously going to be certain
There's
names that you
others,
can't
I
use.
think, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a name. I know that in some countries there's names as well, like in France and stuff. There's a list. I'm gonna find it for you and send it to you after this.
That would be my ideal, like, afternoon reading. Sunday
Um,
afternoon reading. List of names you can't give children.
I don't
Love
know. To
that.
be fair, as a parent, it was the hardest thing.
Was it?
Yeah, to name your child, it was the hardest thing. It was hard. Well, I mean, pregnancy was pretty horrific, but it was the hardest part because
Yeah.
you've got to one, you've got to think what it sounds like when they're an adult.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Fluffy or whatever, some of these like more kind of edgy
Cutesy
names
names.
don't really have the same kind of appeal when
Yeah.
you're 35 and working in an office.
Yeah. And you need
Um,
them not to get bullied at school, I guess, as
yeah,
well.
yeah, and also
So
you don't want them to be bullied. But
all
my
needs to come
obviously
into
my surname is
consideration.
Boothby, and my husband, God, my husband wanted to call our child Billy Bob.
Billy Bob Boothby.
Billy Bob Boothby. Um,
Actually love that, to be fair.
he thought he was hilarious, and I was like, absolutely not. And then after we had this conversation, he came back about a week later and was like, what about William Robert? And I was like, okay, William Robert Boothby has a nice ring to it. It took me all of about 5 minutes to realise that he shortened William and
Billy Bob
Robert to
Boothby.
Billy and Bob. I was like, absolutely not.
Class. Nah, I love that.
So he
That's a
got
great
named
name.
after a horse. So my son's
Oh
name
well.
is after my horse of a lifetime.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. See, I think if I had a child, the names that always stick with me is I would either have Mel, but instead of short for Melissa, it would be Melon. So it'd be
Right, okay.
Melon Morgan, and then
That's actually got quite a ring to it.
yeah, I know, and then Liz, but instead of being short for Elizabeth, it would be short for Lizard, and
Lizard.
she'd be Lizard Morgan. Well, I guess it could be a boy or a girl, that name, and
Well,
this is
yeah,
why I'm not having children.
gender neutral. I was expecting some strongman, like Atlas or Log.
No, I don't care that much about it.
But yeah,
I just like them to go everywhere. I like the thought of someone at like 15 or 16-year-old being like, they go somewhere and they know that their full name's going to get read out, and they're sat there like, fuck me, just
God's
built my entire
sake.
life around being Liz, and now I'm about to be called Lizard in front of everybody.
Yeah, no,
Again, another reason why I can't have children, because I torment them.
I don't know. I think yeah, I don't know. I think I'd probably offend somebody at some point if I said what. I think we've all got names from our, like, whether it's from our childhood of like people that we didn't like, so therefore you were never going to
Oh,
name your children.
yeah. I guess that would be really hard as well, because I would hate if you named your child like a name that you did like, and then you met someone with the same
They
name who
were
was like an
idiots.
absolute dick, yeah, and you're like, oh
Crap.
god,
Yeah.
now I've got to deal with you now, and you just remind me of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Naming children is tricky.
yeah. And to be fair, when I've named dogs before, I'd say that I usually have a little bit of thought that goes behind it. My last dog that I named is called Chunky, because I couldn't
Okay.
be,
Fair enough.
because she was a puppy when, like, obviously wouldn't have got her, but because we'd bred them, and she was just the biggest puppy of the litter. So I was like, "You big fat chunker," and now it's just stuck. And
Yeah.
now I have to go to the vets, and they're like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "It's Chunky."
It's all right. I was always taught, like, superstition was that you don't change a horse's name. So if you buy a horse and it comes with a stupid name, you're stuck
Oh
with it.
yeah,
So I have a friend whose horse is called Craig.
Craig. Love that.
My horse's name is Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good horse name. That there.
it suits him, but he's Jerry Giraffe because
Oh
he's
yeah,
massive with a
I
very
like
long
that.
neck.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
This
just
is,
don't change the name; it's bad luck.
yeah, I feel like that's fair enough. I would agree with that. I wouldn't change. You couldn't change animals' names, can you? We're terrible at naming things because we've got like loads of birds and stuff like that. The names are they get atrociously worse. Like we're just giving up. Like the last lot were called Cheaper. We had Cheaper.
Oh,
Who else did we have? Oh, we had one called Green Leash because it just had a green leash, like literally the bit that was tied to its
original.
feet. We were like, yeah, that'll do.
Say
But
what
then
you.
it snapped the end of its beak off because it was just fucking about being stupid. And so it snapped like the tiny little end of its beak off, and it looked really like a bit like a parrot. And I started calling it Greeny No Nose, and we called it Greeny No Nose for fucking ages. That was like it would refer to it at work, be like, "Oh, you're taking Greeny No Nose? Yeah, I'll take Greeny No
Oh
Nose."
God.
What a name! But
Yeah.
no, I love it. Very good, silly goose. Right, I'll have a look. I'll have a little look at my list, see what else. Because
Okay.
well, I don't want to keep you too long, but this was quite a good one actually that I'd thought about. So if you had to give if there was a topic that you had to give a presentation on, 30-minute presentation on, that you couldn't do any preparation for at all, what would it be?
Oh, having just completed a PG cert in mental health therapeutics, probably antipsychotic medication.
Wow, that's kind of
Because
interesting, but
it's
also pretty
literally
boring.
stuck in my brain.
Yeah, fair enough. Pretty useful for work. What about an outside topic, not work topic? I want just a random thing.
Just like something
And it
really
can't be Strong
random.
Woman. Can't be Strong
Okay.
Woman or horses, because they're two
Okay.
things that we already know about, yeah. Needs to be something different off the wall.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good silly goose.
Good one, this one, isn't it?
Like random useless piece of information, probably.
Like a trivia subject that you would be
Yeah,
good on. So
I'm
I
full
know,
of like random.
yeah, mine
Yeah.
would be, I could do it on The Office US. I could do a presentation on that
Okay,
because
yeah.
I know so much about that. It's ridiculous.
Grey's
Native
Anatomy.
Yeah, you
Probably.
could take that. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. I could do native UK birds. I'm pretty good on native UK birds. Like that would be a pretty good presentation for me. Mushrooms, pretty good at mushrooms. I could talk about mushrooms all day long.
Very
Like
random topic.
not just the magic ones as well. Like
Oh, okay.
just generally
Not the good
foraging.
mushrooms, just the
Yeah,
ones that you
yeah.
eat in an
Just
omelette. Yeah.
yeah. Like just foraging UK mushrooms that you could find. Pretty good on that topic too. Yeah.
So
Come on
you're
then.
really up on this mushroom trial that's going on in Australia then with the lady that managed to get rid of her in-laws.
No, I
No?
haven't heard anything about this. What?
Yeah, there was an Australian lady that's on trial at the moment for killing off her in-laws with a beef Wellington with some funky mushrooms in it.
Oh, I'll have to Google this
There's
afterwards.
a
I'm gonna write a
podcast
little
about
note.
it, I think.
Oh yes, even better. I'm gonna write a little note so
You're
I
gonna
don't
Google
forget.
Australian lady, mushroom lady.
I love stuff like that. I find it absolutely fascinating.
I mean, there's probably easier ways of getting rid of your in-laws, but
I know that seems like a
it
stupid
seems a
way
bit
because that's surely
extreme.
very traceable back to you. Like,
Bit extreme.
bit extreme, yeah, a bit extreme, but
Yeah.
people will do
No,
these
yeah,
things.
probably, yeah, something stupid like Grey's Anatomy, or I don't know. Not really that interesting.
Yes, you are. No, you must have little topics that you think about. What do you spend your time looking at? What's your Instagram algorithm look like? That's usually pretty good.
Currently, a lot of strongman content.
Ah.
It's kind of flipped. Before, it was lots of like eventers and show jumping and horsey
Yeah.
kind of stuff, but yeah, it's kind of flipped now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Favorite
Antipsychotic meds.
antipsychotic meds and Grey's Anatomy is a theme
Clearly,
here, and it's
I've
healthcare.
been doing this job for too long.
Well, that can be your homework from this podcast.
Yeah.
Then you need to go out, think of what your little weird thing is that you really like, and then you can make me a presentation for it.
Okay.
Inform me. We'll put it up. This can be the second part to the podcast. It's your presentation on just something completely random.
Yeah. Thanks.
Nah, brilliant stuff. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Do you have any final words for the podcast?
Anyone listening, just give it a go. It's great fun, and you get to meet great people.
Yeah, love that. And where can people find you if they want to follow you along on your journey and all that sort of stuff?
I'm on Instagram, but I don't have a public profile because of work. But if people send me friend requests, I'll accept them if you've got something strength related.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
I'll put your Instagram in the show notes in case, and if you're listening and you want to be a friend, then you have to make sure that you tell her that you've heard her from the podcast. Otherwise, she'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you, no way."
Yeah, all these two random people that are going to send me friend requests.
Well, you never know. We usually get a couple of hundred listens each podcast, so there'll be people out there looking to find you. Don't worry. Not in a creepy way though, like in a nice way.
You never know.
No, we don't want any of that. Just nice things, please. No, nothing weird. No, well, thank you very much for being on the podcast, Sammy, and we will see you all on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Strongwoman Highs, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the podcast, then please give us a follow on Instagram. Or if you would like, we're also on buymeacoffee.com/strongwomanhighs. This is where you can send us tips, or you can also join our membership area, which is $5 a month or £4 a month. It's the silly gosling level. We'll post out any extra content that we get on there, and hopefully a few little free giveaways of things as well. The podcast currently doesn't cost a lot to run, which is what we're trying to keep it as, but we would like to be able to cover our costs, and also once those costs are covered, any profit that is made on Strong Woman Highs will be getting saved up and put into a pot for future Strong Woman competitions that we can sponsor. So if you have a Strong Woman competition that you'd like to be sponsored, or if you want to be on the podcast, then give us a shout, send me a message on Instagram or on YouTube, anywhere else you can get us, and we'll get it sorted, because the more women that we can get on, the better. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye!